We are back with another Art Impressions watercolor throwback. So it's the best Tuesday of the month because I get to be on twice today. So I'm going to be on this morning at 10 doing the throwback, and then if you don't know, I also do Back to Basics every Tuesday at 5 p.m. PST. So this is always a really good Tuesday of the month. Hi everybody, hello, Cindy ordered it. Hi Nell. Okay, for those of you that didn't see the announcement, the set that we are throwing back is going to be Easy Project B. And this is the set, and of course I will show you again on when I flip the camera around because it is backwards at this angle. But you can see you've got a cliff here, a little bungalow, the lighthouse, two fences, and then clouds here, okay? So this is a really great set. Just like when we did Easy Project A release, it has instructions on the back to make this really, really beautiful project, okay? So once again, all of the instructions are actually gonna be using Marvy LaPlume markers, but there is a conversion chart on the Art Impressions website, and if somebody could link that in there, one of our AI family members, whether you work for us or you are just a big fan of AI, if you know where that is, if you wouldn't mind just linking that in there for me, I would be very much appreciative. Hi everybody, welcome. So the project that we're gonna do today is gonna be this guy. So this is so cute. We've got the lighthouse here with the red stripe, and then the little lighthouse, like maybe like a living quarters. I forget what that's called. The cliff, and then we'll put in our water, and then some of our brand new foliage I want to use in this too. The foliage we just released last week. So they are so beautiful. But I want to also tell you we have a exclusive stamp that can go along with this set. So if you order Easy Project B today, which I just dropped it, one moment. If you order Easy Project B, this guy, you're also going to get a free sailboat. 2021 exclusive, okay? And this is so stinking cute. It is adorable. If you look close, it's got just like a living quarters in here. You can see the little windows and then the sail, of course. And you could do so many things with this. I'm gonna demonstrate it today. Just how to paint this. It's really easy, it's really fast. So we had a question earlier on the timeline that was somebody was wondering if they could just get the sailboat. You can't buy the sailboat. However, just like we did before, we're gonna go on the honor system. If you have Easy Project B already, you can add it to your next order. But here's the thing, we can't keep these in stock. So we are going to allow you to get it for the next 3 days. So you've got to place an order, and in the notes section, put, I have Easy Project B, I would like to get the sailboat. Okay, so we're just gonna trust that you have it if you put that in the notes, and we will go ahead and send that to you with your next order if you place it within this 3 days that this is available, okay? So I just touched on it, but the Easy Project B, if you would like this and you don't have it, it's available only until the 9th at 12 a.m. or the 8th at 11:59 is the last time you can get it, okay? So July 8th, 11:59, if you press order, you can get this set. Otherwise, it's gone, and you'll also get the sailboat, okay? If you try to order at 7/9 at 12 a.m., it's gonna be gone. It'll be expired at 12 a.m. on the 9th. So you've got to get your order in on the 8th by 11:59 PST, okay? So if you are living in Hawaii, just know you've got to get it in a little bit sooner because that 11:59 PST is going to be earlier, okay? So just kind of be cognizant of that when you place your orders. All right. So let's see. Anything else I need to tell you? Any questions we have? I'm trying to follow the comments up here. And hi, Victoria. So if you have any comments, we do have some AI members or staff on answering questions, so you can ask away, okay? Is one of them a pier? Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you, Catherine. It is a pier. And I just looked at it and was like, oh, it's 2 fences, but it is a pier. So this little one right here, thank you for that. This is a pier. So actually you would have your water under here. Great, great, great note on that. Okay, any other questions before I... oh, Jane, thank you. I'm actually going to use the dots today. Jane, she says, congratulations on the production of Kendra's dots. So cool. I have been asking for these dots for so long. I'm so excited to be able to see them in a set. You wouldn't think dots would be like so fun, but they are. They're a lot of fun. So, okay, I'm gonna flip us around and we are going to make this really cute lighthouse project, okay? So give me a moment and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so I think I'm pretty well set up here. Let me just get my phone in a good spot. All right, so let me just show you this again. This is Easy Project B, and you can see all of the stamps in here. There's quite a few in here. This is such a fun set, and it's just beautiful. Okay, if you order this before the 9th, so the last day, right, is 7/8 at 11:59 PST, you're gonna also get the 2021 exclusive sailboat. And this is so darn cute. I will show you how to use it. This is the actual size right here. So it's pretty close to that example. Okay, and it's just adorable. So again, if you have Easy Project B and you place an order within the next 3 days, you can say, please also send me the sailboat because I already have Easy Project B. And we will put it in the mail with your order. Okay, so other items or other sets I'm going to be using today are going to be the Flower Set 1. This is 4052. I'm going to use this little daisy bunch. I'm going to use Flower Set 4. I'm going to use these 2 little buds right here. These are so cute, but any of these would be so adorable in this project. I love this set. I've been using it a little bit more often. I think it's just amazing. I love the stems in here, and these little filler flowers are just so fun. Okay. And then also the brand new released Bible journaling set. This is the Bible Foliage Set 2. You can see right here. And it comes with all of these absolutely stunning foliage stamps. I love this set. You can get this even if you don't Bible journal. This is a great set for just your watercolor stamping. I love this. And of course it has the Kendra dots in here. So, you know, I am a little bit partial to this set, but I honestly just love every single one of these stamps, and I can't wait to get into this set more on Back to Basics because it is just so darn cute. Okay. All right, so that one, And all of these sets are available on the website. You can go over there right now if you just can't wait. I'm also going to be using the Art Impressions stamp positioner and a few acrylic blocks here. So if you don't have these are on cling cushion. You will need acrylic blocks, okay, if you're new to this. So right now I'm going to grab some watercolor paper and we're gonna get started on our project. Okay, and I'm having trouble seeing where I put my paper. You guys, what's wrong with me today? Okay, well, where did I put my paper? I have a lot of stuff right here, so it's probably just me being, you know, living in the chaos because I somehow just love it. Okay, so I'm gonna straighten up my camera here because I think it's just a little bit wonky. All right, so I have my watercolor paper. This is the Canson heavy duty 140-pound cold press paper. I love this. It's such a nice color too. It's not too creamy. It's really white. It's more white, but it's not stark white. It goes really nicely with the colors that you use. And I just love it. I love the way that the colors move and how it stays wet just a little bit longer than some of the more porous watercolor papers to allow you to sort of blend colors a little bit easier. And yeah, so we have that on the website as well. And I wanted to show you this. Okay, so we're gonna be doing this little lighthouse. And I don't know if you noticed, but this is actually a glued on, it's not glued, it's actually just taped. But I wanted to show you, see if I can. Oh, you know what, I think it's gonna pull some of the color off. But I wanted to show you that you can do this also in gray. So my plan was to show you the red and then also be like, look how cute it is in gray. So you can do this too. We are going to be doing it in the red today, and my plan kind of failed because I thought that this sticky would come off, but it's not. So I'm gonna put that on, and it's actually kind of cute because it pops out. So if you were to ever, you know, make a mistake or something like that that you don't like or that you feel like you can't fix, this is actually a really fun way to cover those things up. I don't feel like I made any mistakes on this one, but I did want to show you that you can do different colors for this lighthouse, and it will give you a totally different look. Look how this looks. It's more muted, more calm. A lot of lighthouses are this color, but if you wanted it to be really bright and cheery and loud, then definitely do something like a red. Okay, so I wanted to show you that, but we are going to do the red one today just because it's really bold and I like it. So we're going to go ahead and start with, hi Sherry. We're going to start with our lighthouse here, and I've got it on my acrylic block. Now again, these are cling cushions, so you can just put them right on your acrylic block. And I'm going to take number 969. So as you know, we like to do a lot of mixing for our grays. So 969 is a really good one that I like to use with, or that we like to use with the 565. And this gives us a really nice multi-dimensional gray color. Okay, so I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to just ink that up. And then also put right over the top the 565. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp this off. So you can see I cut out the red one out of here, but I'm going to stamp that off just like that. I'm going to give it a little huff. Oh no, what happened? Oh well. I'm going to give it a little huff, and then I'm going to use some pressure and stamp down this lighthouse here. because on this paper, I'm using the toothy side. I really like that textured side. My word, something's like falling on my paper. Oh well. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm going to wet this consistently through, okay? So it's very dry, you can see. The worst thing that I wanna do, or the last thing I wanna do, is just dip it once and start painting. That's not what you wanna do. If your brush is dry, you really wanna open that up, and you can see the bubbles coming out. You wanna open this up in your water or on the side and release those air bubbles so that you get a really nice water consistency throughout your brush. Okay, hi Kristen. And so we are going to start off and take this brush, and I don't want a ton of water on here. I just want a little bit, just so I can go down and begin to add in the shadows. Okay. So I don't want to do too much because I'm going to be adding in red, and I want it to be really, really bright. And so if I add too much of this brown, it's actually going to mute down a little bit that red color, and I don't want to do that. I want it to be really, really bright. Okay. Same thing over here. I'll just take my brush. I'm gonna leave this little living space over here pretty simple because I want the focus to be on the lighthouse. So I'm gonna keep this very simple and pull the color out with my brush. I'm just gonna touch these areas. I will go back in later with some of the blue and add in some shadows in here, but for now, that's really all I wanna do. Okay, so let's go ahead and put in, as this dries, we're gonna put in our cliff. Okay, so this is our cliff, and again, I just placed it on a larger acrylic block. Now, if you're using a stamp positioner, the best spot to put a stamp is in the top right corner, and actually, we typically put the stamps up here anyways, just so that you can easily see where you're going. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, it might actually be easier on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna take my stamp positioner, and I'm gonna take 969 and ink that cliff. Just gonna ink it all like this. I'm gonna put a little bit of the 565 onto the rocks because these are gonna be more of a gray tone. And then I will stamp this off once, just so it's not too dark. And actually, I could have stamped it off on here, but that's okay. Okay, so I've stamped that onto my positioner. And I'm gonna decide where I want this. I think I want it about here. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's the nice part about stamping in the lighthouse first, because you can adjust the cliff. If your lighthouse is a little bit crooked, you can adjust the cliff to make it look straight. But if you do your cliff first and then you have your cliff perfect and then you try to do the lighthouse and it's off, you're gonna feel that something isn't right. Okay, so I'm gonna take that away. I'm gonna give this a nice, good little huff and stamp down. Okay, so I have my cliff in, and we'll get rid of that stuff. We'll take our brush again. I'm gonna zoom in just so you can see a little bit more here. Thank you, Sherry. I'm trying to see your comments on my phone. So we do have people commenting from Art Impressions. My dad's on, I think my mom's on, my brother, we have Leah on who's in the office. So if you have questions and I don't catch them, one of the others will, okay? So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just going to begin to pull out the color here. Now, you know, a cliff is gonna be, it's going to look different every single cliff, right? So my goal here is to not have, you know, I'm not going to try to take so much time and try to figure out, you know, what areas are coming out or what's going in. What I'm going to do is just focus on leaving some areas highlighted. I think that's the best thing to do with this. You can certainly take your time and sort of plan out the areas that you want to sort of set back into the rock face, or in the areas that you want to jet out. It really doesn't matter how you want to do it. So I'm going to take my palette here and I'm going to use 969. Oops, I'm off screen. Okay. And then also I've got some brown on here, so I'm just gonna, I used the wrong one earlier. So 565. I have a blue that I use, oops, this is like, still got brown in it. I have a blue that I use for, specifically for the brown gray that we do with the brown underneath and the blue on top. And I used the wrong one, so all you have to do is color a little bit and that brown will come out. Okay, so I've got 565 on here and then also 969. So I'm going to take that 969 and I'm just going to start building in some of the darker areas that I want to be dark in here. Don't worry about it being perfect. Your number one goal here is to just think about leaving areas that are highlighted and having some darker areas. Okay, not everything has to be just so perfect. And, you know, whoever you're making this for is going to be like, oh my word, this is amazing. They're not going to try to pick apart where you highlighted things and where you left shadows. Oh, I think my sister just commented, Keek, you're doing great. Oh, thanks, honey. That was my niece, Kendall. Thank you, sweetheart. It's nothing like having your little nieces on here as an encouragement. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit more of that 969. Okay, now I want to talk to you a little bit about continuity. So when you're doing your watercolor projects, a big thing that you want to think about is continuity and making sure that the different elements that you put into your project work together. And one of the best things that you can do to kind of create that continuity, especially if you're using, you know, more random colors, like maybe a pink and a blue and a green and, you know, some an orange. If you create continuity especially using your 565 in every single element that you add on here, you will automatically make it cohesive just by having blue. Say blue 565, and it can really be any color, but just having one of these colors in every part of your project. So for this one, it's going to be 565, and I'm going to add it to all the parts of this project, and I'm going to do that by using this sort of as a shadow. So sometimes, especially when I first started watercoloring, I didn't do this, and it sometimes felt disconnected. Like I would color something like an animal or something up here and it was brown, and then maybe down here I'd have some blue like in the grass, and it just didn't look connected well. And so once I started doing adding a little bit of one color to each aspect of my project, it got much more cohesive. So I want to show you that. So I'm going to take that 565 and I'm just going to drop some of this in here. Now it doesn't matter how you do this, but you want some blue in every part of your project, at least in some way. Okay, so even though we know that rocks aren't really blue, we can see that this could come off as a shadow. Okay, So I'm gonna add that 565 in here, maybe some of these areas in here. And then I can always take a little bit of water and just blend it out. Just a little bit. And I don't need a lot. I just need a little bit. And you'll see once we start putting in the shadows how things really start coming together, okay? So I'm gonna take that same blue and I'm gonna put it into these rocks here. Remember, we want that continuity, so we're still gonna use a little bit of that brown in the rock, but it's gonna have that blue too. Okay, now that we have our cliff done, we are going to begin to color our lighthouse. And then we'll come back and do the water and the florals afterwards, okay? Okay, I'm gonna take my brush and I am going to just kind of set it aside, take that 856. Now this is a true red. The 856 is a really nice red. You could also use the 885, which is really nice. So this is 885, but it is much, and I don't even know if you can see it come across. It's much more orange. And I think this looks a little bit richer when you use a true red or a red with a blue in it, okay? So I'm gonna use that 856, and just so that I don't confuse anyone, I'm just gonna take this off. Okay, 856, and I'm gonna take my brush and just dip it right into that red, and we're going to begin to add it into our lighthouse. And it's gonna feel really light at first, but we're going to layer it. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this, and notice I'm not filling in every single part of this strip on the lighthouse. Okay, I'm just filling in the majority of it to give the idea that this is a lighthouse with red stripes. But I always want to leave a highlight. I mean, it's so important. It adds sort of an aging effect to the lighthouse, like maybe it has some chipped paint or something. So whenever you're doing this, just remember to leave a highlight, you know, in some area, and you will get that you know, that 3D look. If you fill in everything, you will have it be just super flat on your page. Okay, if you look at this one, we know that this is a red striped lighthouse, even though there's areas that aren't colored in, right? It's okay. Our minds can put that together for us. All right. I'm going to take that a little bit more of that 856, and we're just going to continue to enrich in this color by layering it into itself. And you can see it's getting darker now. And the less water, I would suggest using not much water on this part, because the less water you use, the brighter the color will be and less washed out it will appear on your paper. And if you need to get more, if you feel like, okay, I'm getting really washed out here, you just add a little bit more color and then you can put it back in. So now I'm going to use the darkest. I'm going to layer again, but I'm only going to keep that on the left-hand side because that's where my shadow is. I still want to have, since this is circular, it's a cylinder, I still want to have a shadow in here somewhere. Okay, I need to have a highlight. If I color it all in once again, it's gonna feel like it's very flat. Okay. Now we're gonna take our blue. Remember we talked about having blue in every area of this. If I only used brown, in here and I had a blue water and a blue florals over here, this would feel like it didn't really belong. So I definitely want to incorporate the blue throughout. So I'm going to use that for my shadow. Use that 565. We'll get it in to our lighthouse. And you'll see once I pull my brush away that all of a sudden now the cliff and the lighthouse is connected because they each have that blue color. Do you see that? It's kind of amazing how when you choose a color and you add it to every element of your image, it just all of a sudden binds it together. Okay. All right, I'm going to take that 565 again, and I'm just going to add some shadows into this little bungalow over here. Now, I know we've talked about structures before, and the smaller area that's kind of on the side of the structure, that's where the shadow is going to be. So this small area right here is where I'm going to darken my shadow. Notice, since the shadow is on the left, I've kept the shadow of my lighthouse also on the left, just to keep it cohesive. Okay, I'll take that 565 and just put a little bit onto the front here, just so it's not stark white. And then we'll take a little bit of that blue and also add it into our roof. I want to darken this up a little bit more though, over on this side, because I want it to really set back and look shaded in. Okay. Oops, there's a little roof right here that I commonly forget. It's like a little overhang right there. All right, so we're actually getting somewhere, you guys. So now I'm going to take my, oops, I also forgot a little shadow down here. You've got to get every section of the lighthouse. Don't forget any sections. Okay. All right. Now, oh, and actually one more section. I'm going to just put in the little windows here while I'm here using that blue. So we'll put in the little lookout windows, and then I'm going to add a little bit of that blue into the door frames too. Okay, now I'm going to take my little twin tone, and I'm going to use that detailed tip. So the small tip, there's two tips here. There's a bigger one, which is like a bullet tip, and then there's a fine tip right here. So I'm going to use the fine tip, and I'm going to darken all the windows on here and then add a little bit of contrast into my lighthouse. So I'm going to just darken all the windows. Look how that contrast, or it brings that contrast into this scene when you darken those windows. Look at that. Doesn't that just make the lighter areas pop? And I like to do that up in here too. Just kind of give that fenced area a little bit of contrast, and then this little topper here. Doesn't that bring it to life? I love these twin tones because you can go in and add these tiny details that just bring your images to life. I love them. I love these little markers. And they're water-based, so if you wanted to add water to them, you can. They'll still move around the color. I'm going to add a shadow under there. And again, I'm going to darken these windows. I think this set is so cute. And when I saw that it was coming up on Throwback, I got very excited because I just think it's adorable. Okay. All right. So we have our lighthouse and our little living quarters here. I want to add, just like we had said before, you want to make sure you get all your areas at least touched a little bit, right? Each and every section touched, and that top part wasn't so good. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to adding some details down in here, and then adding in our foliage. So the foliage and the flowers right here are gonna go in right after we put in our grassy area, okay? So I'm gonna take number 249. So I'm only using 249 for my green in this project. And I'll take 249 right there. And I will also take, remember we want to add a little bit of blue, and actually maybe I'll take that 565 and just put the 249 here, just so you can see me mix. I hope that's not going to be too off screen for everybody, but I think it'll just be easier for you to see. Okay, so I'm going to take that 249 and I'm just going to start by grabbing it off of my palette. And I'm going to just come in and sort of follow the lines of the cliff. Just like that. I don't want a harsh line out here because my foliage and my flowers are going to go out here. So this doesn't need to be, you know, a harsh line. It can just be smooth. And then maybe I want like a little something happening back here. Like maybe there's a hill back there or something. Okay, just gonna smooth that out. All right, now I'm gonna take that blue, remember we said every part, I'm going to take that 565 and I'm just going to drop it right over that grass. I can mix these two if I want to. I can take that 249 and mix them and get an even deeper green. So it's totally up to you how you want to do this. I like it when it's not a perfect line right over the lighthouse and the little bungalow. This is going to be so far away that you won't be able to see blades of grass. So I'm not going to put grass in here. Just based on the size of the lighthouse, you would not see teeny blades of grass. You would just see that this is green because there's grass here. Okay. All right, so I've got my greenery in. I have my cliff in. I'm gonna put my water in now. So I'm gonna use that 565. Now, a lot of people have mentioned their 565 comes off a little bit purple. If that's the case and you don't like that to be used for your sky or your water, please, I invite you to also mix in some 526. Okay, and that will create a bluer 565, okay? I like it to look a little bit purple, so I'm going to use the straight 565. I think it looks really pretty, but that's not for everyone. So don't worry about it if that's not you, but you could try to mix in a deeper blue. There's also, let's see, there's also like the 493, which is really pretty too, that you could put in there. You could also put in a lighter blue, 403. So there's some options there for you if you want your 565 to look a little bit more blue as opposed to purple. But I like that purple vibe. Okay, so I'm going to start putting in my water, and I'm just going to wash this in around my rocks. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's a little off. Don't worry about it. It's hard to get the water to be perfectly straight, but you're just giving the idea of something. We know that there's water out here. So that's all we're really doing, is giving the idea that this is, you know, right off the coast, and it's, you know, showing ships where to go. So we know that this is just going to be the ocean, or, you know, maybe a Great Lake or something. But we know that the ocean's straight, and it's fine if this is a little bit off, because your mind, when you look at something, you're just going to know, you're going to make it straight in your mind. And you're not going to spend a lot of time being like, oh, that's not straight. As a viewer, I mean. Okay. So I'm going to put some little darker areas in here, right next to those little rocks. And I'm just building up this blue. It does not need to be perfect. Remember, you can leave white space. It's fine. It is a-okay. And I could leave this just like that and be done. Right? It doesn't need really anything else. I could put in a sky and be done. But I think the flowers on the side are really, really cute. So I'm going to add those. But if you wanted something more simple, you could certainly just leave it as is. Okay? So I'm going to add in my sky first before I add in my florals, so that I don't have to deal with trying to move around the florals to add my sky, and I can just put those wherever I want. So I'm going to use number 526. And this is going to make it look like a really bright day. Okay. Oh, Valerie, I'm using a number 4 brush, and you can see that the writing is pretty much off because it's been used so many times, but I'm using a number 4 for the majority of this project. And that would be the case for most of the projects I teach. There are a couple of them that, you know, would do very well with a larger or the very tiny brush. But for the majority of the projects I teach, you're just fine to use the number 4. Okay, so I'm just going to add in my little sky here. Now, when you add in a sky, you want to leave a little barrier of white between the sea and the sky. Just a little cushion of white in there. And I'm just dropping in this blue and then dipping my brush in water and moving it around. This does not need to be perfect. It's clouds. So clouds are going to look a little bit different every day, right? It does not have to be a certain way. And you can just play until you're satisfied with the way that your clouds and your sky is looking. I'm going to avoid these little dark areas here. Oops, I'm not on screen. Whoops. I'm going to avoid these little dark areas up here and actually erase those later with a watercolor eraser. So I'm going to avoid anything that I see that's dark kind of out here, because it will pick up with the water and it will disperse out more. So if that ever happens, just avoid it and then get one of those gritty watercolor erasers and use that to erase any of those little areas. All right. So I'm just blending out some of these cloudy areas and keeping it very simple. Very, very simple. Notice with the green also, I left a little white cushion between colors, right? Here's the white cushion here. It's so important because it gives you another dimension of highlight and shadow, okay? Because your color would act kind of as the shadow and your highlight or your white would act as the highlight. So it's just when I go between colors like sea and sky, if you leave a little cushion, it just adds so much more to your watercolor. It doesn't look so flat. It brings it to life. Okay, I'm gonna bring in just a little bit more shadow down in here, just so things feel like they're in it together. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and begin to put in my foliage and my flowers. Okay, so I'm gonna take my little fern from that beautiful Bible journaling set. Once again, if you are not into Bible journaling, you can journal in your, as like a scrapbook thing. You can do it in your favorite book. You can, you know, do it in, if you don't want to do it in your Bible, you could do it in your devotional. You can do it just in a normal planner. So it doesn't have to be Bible journaling. That's just what we call it. And that is the series that this is in, but you certainly don't have to. You could use these for cards. You can use them for whatever. Okay, so I'm going to use the smaller of the two. So I'm going to just grab that one. And I'm going to use number 249. So 249. Okay. And I'm just going to begin to decide where I want to put these little ferns, okay? So they don't need to be perfect, and I'm not going to use the whole stamp every time. You'll see maybe some areas I'm going to tilt it. Well, that's just because the flowers are going to sit on top. I don't want the stamp. So if I show you this, let me just see if I can give you an example. Okay, so if I were to stamp this the exact same every time, okay, if I just go around here and I want to put my leaves in and I want some flowers in here, and so I'm going to just stamp it the same every time. This looks very much like a stamp, okay? But if I do this and I just tilt it so that I don't get as much, now that leaf is behind the first leaf. And maybe I want one more that's kind of behind. And then maybe I want to use just a side of, you know, I'll do this one and maybe just the side of another one. Do you see the difference here? This looks more realistic. Okay, and maybe I just want to use a little bit of a tip of one over here. And as, you know, as they kind of come out, maybe I want to use the lighter parts to build this up. Do you see the difference? It's such a difference when you just use partial stamp, especially when we go in with our flower. So if I were to take my flower now and put it in, this one is still cute. It's not, doesn't look bad, but it looks like a stamp. Okay, it's still cute, but if you come in now on this side, it looks like a bouquet. It looks like these are meant to be together. Do you see the difference? Okay, I hope that makes a difference to you. It does for me, and maybe you like the big full ones, and that's totally fine too. But you can see that this looks more like a painting, especially when you add water to it. This one looks more like a painting because it looks like it's meant, it's like growing together. Okay, so we're just gonna add just a teeny bit of water to these ferns. And I like to kind of blend out the bottom of it so that it looks like it's kind of together with those flowers. And then over here, the flowers are more separate. Do you see that? And then maybe I'll just add in, they're both cute, don't get me wrong, they're both very cute, but one of them looks like it's growing together and one of them doesn't. Do you see that? It's those little tiny things that you can use to elevate your project. Okay, so I'm gonna take those and continue stamping in here. All right. I'm going to take that fern with the 249 and I'm just going to keep going. So maybe I want a few over here, and you know, I can always add more ferns later. That's the nice thing is I can always just be like, oh, you know, I want maybe a few more in here to sort of finish the look. And maybe there's one in here, and maybe there's a full one coming out there. Okay, you can see I've left some space now for flowers in the center. I did my foliage first because I want the majority of this to be green. I want the majority of it to look like foliage. I wanted to place my foliage first. But you could always place your flowers first too, if you want the flowers to be kind of the focal point. But I really wanted my foliage to kind of look like it was flowing out. All right, I'm gonna use 565 for these little daisy bunches. And I'm gonna stamp these in clusters, just like we just did. Leaving some white areas between here. Okay. If I were to just stamp a whole bunch of leaves without leaving white space, and I tried to stamp my flowers over the top of them, I would have a very muddy looking little bouquet over here, or like little floral area over here, and it just would feel very flat and muddy and brown. Okay, just gonna take a few more of these and just place them in there. Now I'm gonna take my water and I'm going to just begin to dab some of these flowers. Now I want to kind of blend in to what's happening over here, because that's just gonna connect everything up. Okay, at the base of this fern, I'm going to blend that out. Maybe connect a little bit up in there. Notice my flowers are blue, right? So we have another blue element over here to connect everything. All right. Take that brush and just soften the bottom of that fern. You can come in here if you want to and just put a little water on just some of the leaves. I like to do that. Not all of them, just be picky and be like, okay, these ones are gonna get water and these ones aren't. Okay, now I can, if I want to, because I still have ink on this, I'm just going to huff it because I want some lighter areas in here. Okay, some lighter ferns. And maybe I want to bring this over a little bit further, just so it's kind of wrapping around my project. So it's kind of got this little curve here, and maybe there's one up in here too. See how it connects that together? It's this little curve. It's sort of cupping our project. And I'll take my brush and just pull a little bit of that color out. And I can always haze away and do some of these colors out here, just bring them out. It gives it a really soft, super soft look. And let me just zoom in so you can see. It's just very, very soft. Notice all of the highlights in there. right? So we have our dark and our light highlights, and you can see how it just kind of curves around. All right, so we'll zoom back out and we'll put in a couple of these little buds. And I like the idea of using these, and I'll show you here, because I think it connects even more, adds one more connection from the florals to the main image, okay? So I use that same red in the buds here. Okay, so I'm gonna take that little bud and I'm gonna use 249 for the stem. Just like that. And then that 856 for the bud itself. Okay. So we'll just put them right in there. And notice I kind of aimed for the white areas on the cliff where I wanted those buds to go. I kind of aimed for those areas so that I could really highlight that red. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to that. And if I want this to be even brighter, I can grab some color off of my palette and brighten that up even more. Just like that. Now I'm gonna go the other way and just put a couple, oops, yeah, this is the one I want. I'm just gonna put a couple going the opposite direction. This set is so nice because you have the mirrored images of these buds. And I'm just gonna put one in on that side. Okay. Thanks, Georgia. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit more of that color from my palette and just drop it right in here. Now you can always, these Tombos, they also have a detailed tip. It's not super detailed. At the very base of your buds, just come in and add a little bit more if you want to. You do not have to do that, okay? All right, everybody. I'm gonna add a little bit more contrast in here now that we are kind of starting to wrap up. And I wanna do that right at the cliff. So I'm gonna bring just some of this darker color into my cliff and on my rocks. I didn't want to do this earlier because my the water would have pulled it out. And I would have had a very potential, I should say, a potential mess. Okay. So I'm just bringing in some of these darker areas into my cliff. And I can do the same thing with the twin tone brown. So it's really pretty. You can do both. You can bring a little bit of that brown in, and you know when these mix, it's gonna give you that kind of that grayish tone again. I just think it adds a nice element when you can have some darker areas in here. Isn't that amazing how it just brings it to life? I love it. Okay, and that about wraps up this project. So I'm gonna sign. Oh, you know what? Oh my heavens. I gotta put in my dots, my little Kendra dots. So I'm gonna just ink the little dots. And I like these stamped off once. So I stamp it off once and then I like to put them in a little bit lighter. So you can see here's the darker ones. I like doing those inside. So if I'm gonna do darker ones, I'm gonna do them like inside. Oops, inside. And then I can use the lighter ones on the outside to just add a little bit of texture in there. Isn't that cute? I love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna ink this again. I'll use the darker ones inside, and then we'll just kind of come out a little bit with these and just use them like that. Now, if you make the stippling with your pen, it's going to be the same value of color, because you're going to get, let me just show you, you're going to get the same dot every time, which is really cute. Okay, so if I make dots, I'm doing dots right here, but they're the same color, all of them. But if you use the little stamp for the dots, you are going to get dark and light values. See the difference? See? I just love this little stamp. Okay, I'm gonna sign my work now. And we'll take that twin tone and I'll just put my little signature right here. Okay, there is this one, and I'll just zoom out so you can get the whole view. I absolutely love this set. It's so fun. It's beautiful. It's very versatile. Like I said, you could do, you know, the more subdued, the little subdued colors with the gray stripe, or you could make it super bright like we did and do that red, okay? I wanted to show you though the little sailboat because it's just so cute. So I'm gonna show you a little tutorial on the sailboat. So we'll get that one out of the way, and I'm just gonna ink this up for you really fast because it's just so cute. All right, I'm gonna take number 565 and my 969 again. I want this to be kind of a gray tinge, and for this one I don't want it to be I want it to have more of a blue. So when I do my brown, I'm gonna actually stamp it off once before I add my blue. So I'm just gonna stamp that off one time, and then I'm gonna add my blue onto here. So I'm gonna get some brown, but I'm gonna get more blue. And again, I'll stamp it off once because I don't want it super dark. And I will go ahead and stamp that on the paper. Oh, Julie, the number is, thank you for asking. The number for the Easy Project B is UM4272. I don't know if you need the UM. I would just put in 4272 on the website, and this will pop up, okay? So there's that. And then the sailboat I'm using, for those of you who joined a little bit later, this is a 2021 exclusive. If you order the Easy Project B, you'll get the sailboat. Okay, here's the question that we get. Can I get the sailboat without getting Easy Project B? The answer is yes, but only if you already have Easy Project B. We're not going to make you buy it again to get the sailboat. This is on the honor system. We trust you. And if you place an order in the next 3 days and you put in the notes section that you have Easy Project B and you would like the sailboat, we will send you the sailboat for free. Okay. You need to put in your order in the next 3 days though, if you want to do that. Okay. So, and you can just leave it in the notes of any order. So order your normal things. If you already have Easy Project B, if you're going to place an order in the next 3 days, you just put a note in the notes section saying I have Easy Project B and I would like the sailboat. Okay. So I'm going to take my brush and I am just going to begin to pull out just a little bit of the color here. just ever so slightly. I want this to look mostly, oh, I've got a little red on my brush, whoops. I want this to look mostly white, but I want to put a little red stripe in here, okay? I know the sailboat is so cute. I do too, because you can, Ruth Ann said, I love the size too. And I do too. It's a perfect size to be colored. So we do have other sailboats, but they're pretty small. So it's hard to kind of get some of the details in that you want. So I'm going to take number 565, and I'm just going to put very, very lightly some shadows in here. Just very, very lightly. I'm going to do just one shadow on this side of the sailboat, and I'm going to just zoom in real quick so that you can actually see instead of having to get your, binoculars out. Okay, so I'm going to take the 565 and we'll just drop it in here just a little bit. Now, we're putting in shadows to, because this little, sail back here is actually behind this front sail. So we will have a little bit of shadows on the back, okay? It doesn't really matter where you put them, just put them in. And then we'll have some of this blue here. And then of course we'll have the water. Now, when you do the boat, you don't really have to color much on the boat because the water is going to make it look white, because you're placing that water right next to the stark white stamp image, and it's just going to exaggerate the lightness of that boat, and it's going to make it look white. We do need a little shadow down in here. Okay, once again, I'm using the blue, right, in the various sections on this boat. And it's so nice for continuity. Okay, we'll put in a little bit more of that blue right here. Just right there. And this back sail, I'm not going to do anything else with. I might bring in a little bit of that twin tone there, but I want it to be very plain in the back. I want it to just look white. And then the front sail, we're going to use that 856, this one right here. And we are going to put in a few little stripies. So I'm going to start with the biggest stripe. And when you put in a stripe, it cannot be straight. It has to have a curve to it so that the sail looks like it's being blown. If it were just flat and you were looking at it from the front and it was tied down and it was flat like a triangle, then you could do a straight stripe. But because this has a curve to it, just like when we put details onto our pots, that stripe also has to have a curve. So I'm going to take that 856 and I'm just going to curve it down like that. And same thing here. So I'm going to curve it down just like that. It does not need to be perfect. Again, don't worry about it if it's not. And I'm going to fill that in. Okay. And then I'll do my next stripe. And this stripe is going to be smaller. So I'll just do one little stripe here on top. And then we'll do one more little stripe. Curve. And again, curve. If you get a little bit of that color in there, don't worry about it. See how it looks like it's billowed out. The wind is carrying it. It's billowed out. When you add that curve into the red stripe, you really get the feeling that this is moving, that sail is really holding the wind and moving the boat. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my little twin tone and we're gonna darken the windows again. All right, oops. Okay. I'm gonna take that little twin tone and we're just gonna darken up these windows in here. And down in here. And then maybe we'll put a little line in here. We'll darken up that top. Do you see how this just adds so much contrast? I am such a big contrast person, and I know not everybody is, but I do think it just adds so much to your image if you add even just a little bit of contrast. So I'm just being ever so soft when I put in these little lines. So I want maybe this to have a shadow underneath there. Okay. You could also put a little flag up here if you wanted. That would be really cute. You would need it to be going, let's see, how would you do this? Because you're moving this way, the flag would be blowing that way. Oh gosh, you would have to look it up. I'm really bad at trying to figure out how, which way things would be going. You might have to look up a photo of that. But the flag up there would be really cute. Okay. I'm going to take that 856 and just take a little bit more color into those stripes. Because these aren't flowers, I can use a nice dark, deep color on here just to enhance the stripes if I want to. Okay, I'm just gonna bring this down and just wing it down just a little bit further, just to connect it in. Okay, everyone. So that is the sailboat. It is so cute. You can absolutely put this into, so many different projects. It's just adorable. And if you want that sailboat, it will come with the purchase of Easy Project Bee. And if you already have Easy Project Bee, you can place an order in the next 3 days and say that you already have Easy Project Bee, and we'll send you the sailboat for free. Okay, and we trust you. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom out, and there's the sailboat, and one last little peek at the little project we did. So there are those, okay? So I am going to flip around and I am going to say my little goodbyes to you. And just recap some of this stuff too, some of this information. Okay, whoops. Oh no, I'm gonna drop my phone. I'm just waiting for the day. Hi everyone, welcome back to my face. Okay, so recap, Easy Project Bee, available for 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Thursday. You have to get it before 11:59 Thursday evening. It expires at 12 a.m. on Friday. It's done, so you can't get it again. If you order Easy Project Bee, you will also get the sailboat. Okay, this is a 2021 exclusive, and you'll get those together. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but I just want to make sure everybody knows If you have Easy Project B, you can order in the next 3 days. Put a little note in the notes section. I have Easy Project B. I would really like the sailboat, and we'll send it with your order, okay? So, who's excited? Who's gonna get it? Who already got it? Probably a bunch of you. If you like it, head over there right now. We will not run out of stock. So you can just go place your order and we will get that to you. Just a note, as many of you know, the throwbacks, they are not pre-made. So they do take just a little bit longer to get to you. I would ask that you would just have patience with us. And, you know, this is a special thing that we want to do for you. And in return, we just ask that you would have a little patience as we try to get these processed. A lot of times there are many, many orders. So, and we are really fast, but sometimes these throwbacks do just take a couple more days. So we appreciate that patience. And thank you guys so much for coming. I love these little throwback Tuesdays. Did I say throwback Thursday? It's a Throwback Tuesday, first Tuesday of every month. If this is your first time here, we do it every month on a Tuesday for the year of 2020, 2021, to be determined if we will do it next year. But for sure, this whole year, we are going to do a throwback every Tuesday morning, or every first Tuesday of the month, we'll do the throwback, okay? So if you can't get enough watercolor, I will be on tonight, Back to Basics with me, 5 p.m. PST, and we will be doing structures and shadows and all that good stuff. And if you still can't get enough, the queen, she will be on tomorrow morning. That's Bonnie Krebs. She'll be on tomorrow morning for Watercolor Wednesday. So stay tuned, and you will absolutely love the project she's gonna bring you. So I love you all. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that good stuff. And thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. We love you. Be good to each other, and I'll see you guys tonight. Bye.